Anxiety isn't just in your head, it also shows up in the body. Hi, I'm Dr. Jessica Vartanian, licensed marriage and family therapist, and today I'll be answering 4 of the most commonly asked or Googled questions about anxiety, the fight or flight response, and how to calm the nervous system down. So let's dive right in. So, our first question for today is, what does anxiety feel like in the body? So, in order for us to understand and answer this question, I think it helps us to understand how the nervous system works and where the anxiety is coming from in the first place, right? So, anytime the body feels like it's under imminent danger and there's a threat to our safety, the nervous system kicks in and that survival mode kicks in to help us survive whatever the circumstances are. So depending on the circumstances, right, we might be the fight mode, flee mode, freeze mode, and also there's the fawning, like the people pleasing mode. But all of these are going to cause the body to react a certain way, like kind of like physical changes. So when the nervous system is activated and that fight or flight response is there, there's going to be changes to maybe our heart rate, to our breathing, to our digestive system. So sometimes when we are stuck in that fight or flight response, like we didn't get a chance to maybe reset and calm our nervous system to feel safe again, and we're feeling kind of anxious more often than we want to or need to for survival, then the symptoms kind of still can show up in the body. The good news is resources like mental health therapy does help us kind of work through whatever was causing our nervous system to be stuck in survival mode and help us get to a place where it can feel safe in the body again, so it doesn't feel like it has to be in survival mode all the time, right? So it's only there when you really need it to be versus you feel like you have to be in there. So it helps the brain kind of catch up to the present when it feels like it's still living in the past of when the trauma or the stressor happened. Okay. So our next question is, why am I exhausted even when I sleep? So if you're noticing that even when you're getting sleep, you're still going through the day feeling tired and fatigued, there could be a couple of different reasons for this, right? So of course there might be other kind of unrelated to mental health reasons. So if you're noticing this, it's always a good idea to check in with your provider as well, your medical provider, to see if there's any underlying medical reasons. But if we're talking from the field of mental health and what could be causing it, there could be a couple different reasons, like being stuck in that survival mode. So if you're in this kind of nervous system activation where your body thinks there's threats to be prepared for, then it makes sense that it's constantly trying to like scan and be on alert and very vigilant of our surrounding, and that could cause a lot of exhaustion, right? Or there might be some kind of more internal pressure and thoughts like I have to meet X, Y, and Z expectations to feel worthy and lovable, and that's what helps us feel safe and secure, right? So there might be some like internal thought processes that are going on in addition to the nervous system kind of being in fight or flight response mode that might be causing the exhaustion throughout the day despite getting some sleep. So again, the good news is resources like mental health therapy would help us learn to calm the nervous system down so it's not stuck in survival mode any longer. Okay, so our next question, is irritability a sign of anxiety? Great question. I think that it's really nice to actually be able to learn to recognize the clues, because our body is giving us signals as to what it's going through. So being able to pause and reflect and check in, what am I feeling and where is this coming from, so that we can figure out what maybe the needs are. Like maybe those are a sign and clue that there's a need that needs to be met. So making time for ourselves to check in and get those needs met can be really helpful to help us like de-stress and overcome or work through those exhaustion, right? So is irritability a sign of anxiety? It depends. Irritability can mean a lot of different things as well, including anxiety, but some other reasons might be like if you're maybe saying yes when you really want to say no, and you're maybe overexerting yourself. And another kind of survival mode is people pleasing, so that might be like putting others' needs before yourself and not making time for yourself at all, and then maybe feeling guilty when you do take time or rest. Whereas if you're constantly on the go and your body is constantly in this like stress, cortisol, high levels of stress and cortisol, then over time that could cause irritability, So that's a tricky word. Irritability can be a sign of anxiety, but there could be these other underlying reasons to it as well. So it could just also be kind of being tired and maybe resentful sometimes, or it could just be from not getting enough sleep as well. But yes, so when we're constantly like go in survival mode, irritability can be a result or a sign of anxiety. Okay, so our last question: how do I stop living in fight or flight mode? I think that feels like the $1 million question for today's video, and a really valid and great one to ask. We want to, in order to be able to figure out like how to not live in that state, I think it helps to understand why are we living in that state to begin with, right? Is there some certain like pressures and standards that we're trying to get met? Does it not feel safe to slow down? Because if I just slow down, then something bad is going to happen, right? Like, what are those underlying messages or belief systems that we might have developed that told our body, based on those experiences, that it's not safe to slow down, right? It's not safe to relax. So once we can identify those, then we can unlearn it, right? And overcome that need to constantly be in that survival mode and help the body learn that it's safe to be calm, right? And I think, not to speak on everyone's behalf, but I think that's something that most, if not all of us, would want to achieve, right? One day, like, learn how to be more calm. Again, good news is, like, therapy, mental health resources like individual therapy and trauma therapy and cognitive behavioral therapy, these are all, and EMDR, these are all kind of teaching our nervous system and our brain to learn to think and feel differently, so that's not constantly in that survival mode, because it doesn't have to be, right? The purpose of survival mode is really to be there when we are under immediate stress and threat. So when it feels like it's stuck in there, then we want to learn these other tools to help us get it unstuck, so that we are only using that fight or flight response when there really is an actual threat, versus feeling like we have to be like that all the time, right? Because then that's what causes exhaustion and maybe irritability. Okay, so those are all our questions for today. Thank you so much for watching. If there's anything else I can answer, please feel free to drop it in the comments below, and I can make another video like this. Take care.